22 years old, 0 properties, and a head full of dreams sound familiar? Or does it sound like the setup to a bad joke? Well, buckle up, because the truth is somewhere between a motivational poster and a reality check, and we're gonna walk through every inch of it. Here's the thing, most people get wrong right out of the gate. They think building a real estate empire means having money, when really it means understanding money. Think of capital not as the fuel, but as the engine coolant. Without it, things overheat, but it's leverage, strategy, and timing that actually move the vehicle. The catalyst for most 22-year-olds diving into real estate right now is a cocktail of high rent, social media highlight reels, and the very human fear of being left behind financially. Behaviorally, we're wired to chase what we see rewarded. And when someone posts their 3rd property at 25, your brain doesn't see the 7 years of failed offers, it sees the finish line. Just a few years ago, the narrative was intoxicating low interest rates, appreciating markets everywhere, and influencers calling real estate the cheat code to generational wealth. Now, with rates hovering at levels we haven't seen in decades, that same crowd has gone suspiciously quiet, like a group chat after someone says something awkward. The psychological whiplash of watching your plan become harder before it even started is real, and plenty of first-time investors have abandoned ship at exactly the wrong moment. But here's what the data keeps telling us. People who stayed disciplined through the 1994 rate spike, through 2008, through every worst time to buy headline, consistently outperformed the ones who waited for perfect conditions. Real estate moves in cycles roughly every 7 to 10 years, and a 22-year-old today who commits to an 8-year plan is essentially buying a ticket to ride the next wave rather than chase the last one. The community of long-term investors, the Bigger Pockets crowd, the local RIA meetup regulars will tell you almost unanimously that the best investment they ever made was the one that scared them most at signing. One massive misconception we need to kill right now is that you need to own a 10-unit apartment complex by year 3 or you're failing. The house hack buying a small multifamily, living in one unit, renting the others, is not a consolation prize. It is literally the most efficient wealth-building vehicle available to a young person with limited capital. Another myth worth demolishing is that you need perfect credit and a fat down payment to start. Programs like FHA loans allow as little as 3.5% down, and if you're owner occupying that first property, you're playing by an entirely different and far more forgiving rulebook than traditional investors. History teaches us that the investors who built lasting portfolios did so through boring, repeatable moves. One property, stabilize, refinance, or save. Repeat. The ones who crashed spectacularly were almost always chasing scale faster than their cash flow, their knowledge, or frankly their stress tolerance could support. So here's the actual plan that works for a 22-year-old with ambition and at least some fiscal sanity year 1 through 2. House hack a duplex or triplex using an FHA loan and let your tenants subsidize your mortgage while you learn the business from the inside. Years 3 through 5, use the equity and savings to acquire your first true investment property, keeping your debt-to-income ratio disciplined and your reserves never below 6 months of expenses. Years 6 through 8, leverage your growing portfolio to either scale into commercial, short-term rentals, or simply hold and allow appreciation and pay down to compound quietly in the background like a financial slow cooker. By 30, if you've executed even 70% of this plan consistently, you won't have an empire in the Instagram sense. You'll have something far more valuable, which is cash flowing, appreciating assets that work while you sleep. The philosophical truth underneath all of this is that real estate rewards the unsexy virtues, patience, discipline, and an almost boring commitment to the process over the outcome. Your conviction about the market matters far less than your position size, your cash reserves, and your willingness to stay in the game when everyone else is panicking or euphoric. And honestly, the most freeing realization you can have at 22 is that you don't need to be right about every market call. You just need to not be catastrophically wrong, which means conservative leverage, solid fundamentals, and never betting the entire table on a single deal. Whether the market dips, plateaus, or surges in the next 8 years, the investor who prepared rationally wins more often than the one who predicted brilliantly. The empire isn't built in a moment of genius. It's built in 1,000 moments of discipline. When you chose the spreadsheet over the hype, the fundamentals over the feelings, and the long game over the shortcut. That's not a limitation of being 22. That's actually your greatest competitive advantage, because time is the one asset no amount of money can buy back. If you're ready to stop theorizing and start building, whether you need help finding your first investment property, navigating contractors, or connecting with the right lenders, check out our links in the description below.